It's been there since the foundation of the world, reshaping man's thoughts and ideas of life and redirecting man's pursuit in life to fit its agenda. It's a matter of disguise, working through men endlessly, using every way to hinder the advancement of the kingdom of God. It's Mammon, the spirit behind money. Charles and Susan Opiyo, in their book Unmasking Mammon, help their readers unmask this deadly spirit and embark on a journey back to the Father. Unmasking Mammon is a must-read. Now available on Amazon and on order at cyruscom254@gmail.com for physical copies. Grab your copy today and start off your journey to overcoming the spirit of Mammon. Unmasking Mammon by Charles and Susan Opiyo.
Hello and welcome to the Cyrus community. This is Business Unusual. In our last conversation, we gave you a short history of money and we continue with that conversation today.
Yep.
So we are still talking about money. And of course, in our last conversation, we spoke about how Mammon infiltrated the monetary system. And we saw how from that moment, people would be considering money more important than the creator of money, because we said God did not create money. Money was introduced by man.
Yes, and
but money became more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we said, it was a medium of exchange.
Yes.
Don't forget those things. It
Yes.
was a good idea.
Yes.
Now it's become a measurement of value. Something has gone wrong.
Well, today we'll discuss one of the ways it did this by introducing a very powerful, this is now Mammon.
Yes.
Introducing a very powerful principality.
Yes.
And this is the scarcity mentality.
Yes.
We want to talk about scarcity mentality. And as we talk, we always say, locate yourself. Ask yourself, can I hear myself? Can I see myself in this conversation? Is there something I need to adjust in me? Is there something that I can hear? And as you're talking, you're like, my friend, did you just come into my life?
Yeah.
And now you're talking about me. So when you hear something that needs adjustment, please do so.
Yes.
Because this conversation will not have meaning if
Exactly.
nobody is adjusting themselves.
And it's true.
Yeah.
And like we said, money infiltrated. There's something also we said important, that we found money already in this scenario. No matter how money was meant to have been, our first interactions with money found already these principalities embedded.
Yes.
So when we say, like you said, adjust yourself, it's because what we are discussing may have become normalized for you.
So when we say now there is God's original idea,
Yes.
when you have conversations like this is when we hear about we hear or read
Yes.
about God's original idea.
Exactly.
Because as we came in, we found it at this point
That's the thing.
where scarcity mentality was a
Yes.
norm.
Yes.
It was a normal conversation.
Yes.
And even today, as we talk, maybe there's someone who will be like, wow, that's how I talk.
That's normal.
Well,
that's life.
That's normal. That's
That's
how
the
else.
power. The power of a principality is its normality. Listen carefully. We think principalities are going to expose themselves. They hide in plain sight, meaning they become part of our thinking. The word principality comes from the word of a prince, which means ruler, but it also means principal, like in a school principal, the one who sets the rules, or the beginning or the origin of something. Think of all those concepts. So when you say a principality called the scarcity mentality, it means it has become a principle way of mind, of thinking, and it's also become a principle in our mind.
And let's say that we're not talking about the scarcity
No.
that can lead you to innovation, because
Yes.
sometimes you could be in this place where something is missing or
Yes.
lacking, and
Yes.
it leads you to be innovative,
Yes.
and you actually come up with an idea that saves
Absolutely.
society.
Yes.
No, that's not what you're talking
No,
about.
we're not talking
about
about-
a scarcity mentality.
Yes.
Maybe you need to explain that.
Yeah, we're not talking about actual scarcity.
Okay?
Because actual scarcity, really, as you will discover, may be a myth. We're talking about a scarcity mentality.
Explain the
Now,
difference.
the difference is this. A scarcity reality means something is missing. And usually, like you said, when I discover something is missing and I want to accomplish something, I will find a solution to solve it.
Yes.
So actual scarcity is an opportunity for innovation.
Yes.
Actual scarcity.
That's good.
But a scarcity mentality is a paralysis that causes you to refuse to innovate.
And actually, like you're saying, paralysis, meaning our scarcity mentality leaves you in this place of I can see even what is required.
Exactly.
But because I have a scarcity, I don't know where I'll get money, resources, tools, materials. I don't believe it's there. So it leaves me paralyzed.
That's it.
I don't move.
That's what we're dealing with.
So you're saying that scarcity mentality is a hoax.
It is because,
Scam.
it's a scam. And I'll tell you why. And it affects people who have and people who don't have. That's the power of this principality. It's not a principality that is based on those who don't have. If where those who don't have, they have a different effect of the same mentality as those who have. Now, how does it affect them differently? For those who do not have, the way it affects them is that their conversation becomes defeatist.
Okay.
Their conversation is now always preoccupied with having.
And it's also always directed to their needs.
Exactly.
It's always also, their eyes are so open to what I don't have.
That's it.
What I can't get.
Yes. And again, it is from a defeatist position. You don't understand the difference.
Okay.
They are focusing on what they don't have, but it is based on a defeatist, as in, the reason I can never make it is because I don't have this.
So if I gaze on what I don't have, I'm not only saying I'm looking for a way, I'm not looking for an opportunity.
No.
That sight makes me say I can never move out of here. Therefore I'm doomed. This is where I belong.
It also becomes my excuse for inaction. When I don't want to do anything, I can't because I don't have. I didn't have the right education. I didn't have the right parents. I didn't have the right environment. I did not have. This is one of the major preoccupations, unfortunately, on the African continent. The primary argument and defense mechanism of not having. And then you begin focused. What it does, it minimizes you until all you fight for is survival.
If you see yourself as a grasshopper, how much can you achieve?
Nothing.
If you see yourself as the least of the least, like Gideon, that I'm the least, our clan is the least, our family is the least. If you see yourself from a least position, how much can you achieve? So that's what you're saying, that it actually paralyzes you.
Completely.
And that's the intention of the enemy.
Absolutely.
Remember we said, we are talking about scarcity mentality that was introduced by Mammon, not for your good.
Absolutely.
Not for the rich, not for the poor, for all.
Listen, it's powerful because in a season of life, you may in lack. In another season, you may in increase. Those positions do not remove scarcity mentality.
This is a principality, meaning there's a principle that is in you that is causing the scarcity mentality.
Exactly.
So you do not defeat the mentality by doing something, but by removing, by destroying, by bringing down the principle that is in you, that is controlling how you will see and how you interpret life. And
when you have a scarcity mentality, you don't need demons. You're your worst enemy. You are your worst enemy. Because you're always comparing yourself with those who have what you don't have, and you're always excusing the reason they have and you don't have.
So it's almost like when the enemy gives you that principle, it's like a seed, but it's like a demonic seed. So it's almost like you have, when people say I'm possessed, no, you are hosting. You are allowing a principle. You are the one who is using this principle. You are the one who is looking for the principle. You amplify the principle.
You are the possessor.
You are the one who is possessing the principle now of scarcity mentality.
Because listen, there is always going to be someone who has something you do not have.
Okay.
Irrelevant.
At any given time.
In life.
Okay.
So that cannot be an excuse for you not to have. Now the problem is that on the other side of the coin, even those who have are still preoccupied with what they do not have. So
we've seen the ones who don't have.
Yes.
Gazing on what they don't have, which paralyzes them.
Exactly.
Now we are talking about those who have.
Those who have.
So this principle, this principality has no respect.
At all.
Has no respect of whether you have or not. Listen, Mammon is about self-destruction.
That's it.
Mammon is about replacing God in your life.
Yes.
If you can have money, but you have the scarcity mentality, Mammon is happy.
Yeah.
So we are not talking about just having money, we are talking about destroying the principality that is paralyzing your life.
And it's been confusing sometimes when we see people who seemingly have a lot, but never seem to stop. It's because of scarcity mentality.
And they also have a lot of fear.
No matter how much they have, they always are looking for more because they always then come across something they did not have.
Okay.
It becomes a relentless pursuit. It's like digging a bottomless pit. It has got no limit.
It's not that you reach a point and say, wait a minute. 5 months ago, 5 years ago, this is what I was dreaming of having.
Yes.
The minute I have it is like another hole. Or your hole, it's like it has you're stepping on something.
Yes.
The minute you achieve what you thought you wanted, whatever you're stepping on, let's go.
Yes.
And you go deeper into another. Now again you're seeking and you're pursuing.
So the way the scarcity mentality works, if you're on the have-not side, it works as a paralyzing force. So you have an excuse not to attempt anything and to survive on very little.
Yes.
If you don't deal with the mentality and assume something happens, your life changes, hard work pays, whatever, you get an inheritance, whichever, it now switches into an accelerator. It now propels you to nowhere.
You don't. So you don't have moving at a high speed but to nowhere.
No destination.
You're searching, you're seeking, you're getting, you're gathering, and it's almost like, okay, fine, at what point will you stop? At what point will you now sit and say, I want to enjoy? Now what you're simply saying, if you have scarcity mentality and you have things, material things, you never enjoy them.
Never.
Because you're always on a journey. You're always running. You always want the next thing. And I want more money. And you remember the guy in the Bible who created bigger and bigger barns?
Just to store. Why?
Just storing.
Lack.
Okay.
Scarcity mentality is a powerful force.
Yeah.
You end up buying something you really wanted, and within weeks you don't want it. You want the next thing.
And when you look at it, you thought, when I get this thing, there's something inside of me that will say, wow, stop, happy. No. You see it, and then it's almost like the minute you put your hands on it, your eyes are open onto something else.
Yes.
And you're on the journey. I like what you just said. And this is something that somebody should really think about. That even if you have, somebody looking at you will think you have.
Yes.
You're always on a run.
Yep.
You're chasing something.
Yes.
You're always on the move.
Yes.
But if somebody asks you, what's the end? What's the destination? You don't have a destination.
That's it.
So if now you're sitting there and you're watching us and you ask yourself, do I have a destination of what I'm doing? Why am I chasing what I'm chasing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I have a destination? And that is why we always talk about the proceeding word, because every time God gives you a word, when you reach that word and say, well, guess what? This word has become a reality.
Yes.
God gives you a new word. But the word is leading you to where you're supposed to be in life, because this is God giving you a journey, a map,
and the
a
power,
GPS.
The power of a true word of God. In every season that you're walking in, your life is doing amazingly.
And you enjoy.
You're enjoying that season.
Yes.
It's not short-lived. You're not pursuing, catching, and pursuing. Then people ask, how did this guy of great wealth die of depression? How did this guy of great wealth get into all manner of heartache and disease and whatever? Because your body can't take it. The devil is not.
So, wow. Your body cannot take it.
It cannot take. No human body can take permanent pursuit without rest. No human body or mind can take permanent chasing without arriving. It is said that the late great Alexander the Great, who died very young, it is said he died of a broken heart. There was nothing left to conquer.
He conquered everything.
So conquering was his driver. There was just another war to fight. Another war to fight. He no longer saw the point in conquering anything.
Yeah.
There was no value in it. That's what scarcity mentality does. And this thing is deadly because it spills into every area of your life. You now begin to say, I don't have enough of. Meaning, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough sleep. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough work. I don't have enough power. I don't have enough profit.
It's like your eyes are open to just scarcity. I just don't have. You do not have a sight of what you have.
Yes.
And like you're saying, when you have this scarcity mentality and you're always chasing,
yes,
we ask a question. TCC. Dear TCC, is there laughter in your life? Is there joy? Because if you're chasing and you don't know what you're chasing,
oh my goodness,
there's no way you can have joy.
You will never.
You see, we're not talking about laughter caused because somebody fell. You know, there's some people who laugh only when people fall, when bad things happen. Have you ever seen people when somebody falls, they laugh? You're like, okay, wait, do you realize that's pain?
Yes.
But
pain.
why? Because now you don't even know where to laugh. And
You've lost the arrangement of emotions.
Okay, wait.
They are wrongly ordered.
So you have lost what?
The arrangement of emotions.
Okay, that's funny.
They are in the wrong order.
Okay, that's funny. But you laugh at the wrong things.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen someone when you're reversing your car and you're about to hit something, there's somebody sitting somewhere and saying, look, and then they smile. It's almost like, wait, you laugh at the wrong things.
Disorder.
Disorder. That's not what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're talking about, is there joy in your life? When you look at you and your family together, is there laughter? And this is genuine laughter. So why are we asking that? Because if you're on a chase, if you're pursuing something that you don't even know how it looks like, you can't have joy because you're tired.
Yeah, listen.
You're tired.
Listen, to scarcity is a deadly weapon. Listen, I'm not tall enough. I'm not fat enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. Listen, what are you now before you become the next?
What are you now?
Yeah,
Enjoy what
enough.
you are.
Yes.
Enjoy where you
Enjoy
are.
this. The Bible says, he who is faithful with little is, not will be, faithful with much. It's almost like an oxymoron. It's saying if you can't enjoy what you have now, you will never enjoy what you'll have in the future.
Already you have an SMS from heaven already telling you, my friend,
won't.
If you're not happy where you are now, you will not get more happier.
Yes.
Or you'll not be happy where you're trying to get to.
I want you to think for a moment. You're a couple.
Okay?
Anyone who tried to stop you getting married, you fought them. They were your enemies. Because at that time, what was the thing you wanted the most? Marriage.
Okay?
Now you have it. Why aren't you enjoying it? Why are you beginning to chase another milestone? Why can you not take... There was a law in Israel
Okay?
that when somebody married, they could not go to war for 1 year.
For 1 year, yes.
Could not.
Yes.
They had to enjoy their marriage.
This new journey that you've come into,
Yes.
the same thing, when you come and say milestones, this is marriage.
Yes.
It's like there's an age where you reach and now your dream was, I want to get married.
Yep.
When you got married, now you're in this place of, okay, wait, I want the next thing. You get a child, you get a job, you get a promotion, you get a degree. You're always chasing, you're
Yep.
always chasing. So like you're saying, take time. Even the Bible says 1 year.
Yes.
It's a long time.
There's a time for everything. We think we can beat time. So you're running to chase things which you have no idea what to do with when you get them.
Remember we talked about Abraham, when you said about him dying, and David,
Yes.
the patriarchs dying at an old age,
Ripe.
having enjoyed and
Their
having
life.
wealth and honor. Look at
Exactly.
all the things we are chasing. They're telling you,
Yes.
listen, we got there, we enjoyed. I think that word enjoy is the one word that anybody should sit down and say, can I get the meaning of this?
Yes.
Don't just run into this conversation.
Yes.
Don't just listen and keep going. No, stop. Tell yourself, I will come back.
Yep.
I want to understand. What is this word enjoy? Because enjoying life, there are some people who are so much in a dull
Yes.
life
Yes.
that they got used to it.
Absolutely.
And they think that's normal.
That's it.
Like what you always say,
Yeah.
normalizing problems, normalizing lack, normalizing poverty.
Let me tell
Wow.
you, if there is something the mentality scarcity does, it steals your time and your life. Steals it.
Wow.
Because when my mind is on what we have not done yet, we cannot enjoy what we have now.
Wow. Wow.
It's already stolen. And I'll go back to the couples.
Yes.
If you can't enjoy each other's company,
Now.
no amount of achievement you're about to pursue
Wow.
is going to allow you to enjoy it.
Okay.
Because what are you carrying into that space to enjoy?
I'm going back to my question. Again, I think today I'll ask many. I normally ask one or two. Dear TCC, if you're watching us, you're a couple, do you enjoy each other's company? And what does that mean?
Yes.
Enjoying is not that we're in the same house, we are not talking, but did we fight?
We didn't
That's
fight.
not enjoying.
Yeah.
So we are not talking about
there's
being in
no
the same
war,
house. Yeah.
but neither do we have peace.
We don't have a fight. Neither is there love and attraction and something saying, listen, I need to be with you, I want to be with you, I enjoy being with you.
Yes.
So what is enjoying? Can you define that? Also, when you talk of culture, culture can tell you marriage is you brought her into the house.
Yes.
Wasn't that what you're looking for?
That is finished.
You captured her.
And-
You captured. There's no cultivating now.
And culture is so wicked because there are some couples where you go to talk to your parent about there's no happiness in your family, and you're told, are you eating? Are you sleeping?
Are the bills paid?
Are the bills paid?
Is that happiness? Is
What
that
are we
you're
reacting
looking
to?
for?
We are reacting to scarcity. All they are saying is that at least there's no scarcity.
Wow.
There may not be life.
Okay, wait. And you see, when culture is talking, it sounds like it's wisdom.
It's
You
not.
have everything you need. No, I don't. You're being told there's no life. But
There's
my
no life.
friend, there's money. There's something you're doing. There's something you're doing with your life. There's jobs. There's work. There's, my friend, is there life?
Yes.
Actually, that's the best way to ask it.
Everybody's
That's the
wondering-
best way to ask that question.
You're wondering, why are we putting this in the topic of money?
Money.
Because the increase of money with a scarcity mentality is a curse, not a blessing. Making great money with a scarcity mentality will do more harm than good. In fact, it is a direct attack on the advance of the kingdom of God. That's the truth.
So when we talk about God gives you blessings
Yes.
and riches, and they add no sorrow.
Yes.
Now you know what sorrow is. Living in a place where there's no life. Life is
Yes.
missing.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, if you're in that position, if that's your current reality,
Yes.
and you're watching us, you know what we mean.
Absolutely.
But somebody else who is headed there will not listen and say, stop.
No, you
I can
actually-
tell what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yes.
That you're on a journey
Yes.
into this place called no life.
Yes.
Even though you might have seemed like you know what? Seemingly you have achieved 1, 2, 3 things, but there's no life. Now, if you meet anyone who is already in it, will tell you, don't come here. Because
You don't
without
believe them?
life is what you're calling a bottomless pit. You
Yeah.
will always be looking for something that you don't even know how it looks like.
Yes.
That's
And the power of a scarcity mentality, and listen, at every level, unless God has worked with you, scarcity is an underlying assumption. It is hiding. It is part of your thinking. It will always lie to you. Hold on. When you get there, pay any price to get there. It's a lie. You already have the problem with you right now.
Well,
the journey you're taking is actually already laced
remember
with
what
the
you just
problems
said.
of the future.
If you're not faithful with little,
Yeah.
you are not faithful with much.
Yes.
Not you will not be faithful. No, you are not now. Meaning when you arrive,
It's a perfect thing.
you will not be.
Listen, the scarcity mentality you have,
Mm-hmm.
you will export into your future.
Ooh.
No matter how great that future is.
If you don't deal with your scarcity mentality, you're
Yep.
just carrying
Yeah.
a monster into
the
your
future. It will grow up.
Oh.
Yes.
Hmm.
Listen, the scarcity mentality is often an unquestioned, unspoken, underlying concept that defines your life. But nobody questions it, nobody talks about it. But it is actually defining the condition of your life, whether you have or don't have.
And remember, we're also saying that we can have a couple that
Yes.
one has a scarcity mentality
Yes.
because of their upbringing,
Yep.
because of what they saw, what they did not see, the trauma they went
Yes.
through, what they had, what they did not have. So one person has
Yes.
scarcity mentality,
Exactly.
the other one does not have.
Absolutely.
Yet this one can see every time you talk, you have a scarcity mentality.
There you go.
How do we deal with that?
Yes.
So what would be your advice, especially to couples? I don't know why this is going into couples,
Yes.
but how would you advise?
Yes.
Fine, I'm okay and I can already see what you're saying.
Yes.
Either I have it or
Yes.
I can see, and I've always told my spouse,
Yes.
you have a scarcity
Absolutely.
mentality.
Now, I would say at an individual level, and then as a couple. Because listen, one child chase,
1,000,
2.
10,000.
So imagine you already have scarcity mentalities. Then you bring it into a relationship. You multiply.
you multiply.
Powerfully. This is what I would say. Let's begin first by, in this process, like today, first beginning to allow ourselves to actually see ourselves. Because currently, the way we see life is shaped through a scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
Because that is already designed that way, we have to ask ourselves the important question that as this conversation is unfolding, this is a place to pause and say, okay, now I'm not listening to a conversation. Now I'm examining myself. Now from this point onward, as we have this conversation, for a moment, have that boardroom conversation alone. You and you.
Yes.
And say, does this sound like how I reason? Because it is going to work against you. The future you're believing for doesn't exist as long as you have a scarcity mentality.
Yes.
And no amount of extra goods, money or assets is going to change it. In fact, it's going to make things
worse. Remember we always say
Yeah.
that you're where you are because of your past thoughts.
Yes.
So if your past thoughts are full of scarcity mentality,
Yes.
meaning as you walk into your future, you're walking into a future that is already
Yes.
programmed. It's already set. With that scarcity mentality, you
Yes.
will live
Yeah.
in a worse situation than you
Yeah.
are today.
Yes.
Because like you said,
Yeah, yeah.
the scarcity mentality you have today,
Yes.
if you allow it to continue, it grows.
It will grow.
So in your future, it has grown.
Listen, the internal, I'll call it the internal because it's invisible.
Okay.
Scarcity mentality is at the heart of jealousy, greed, prejudice, arguments with life. It's so deeply embedded that whenever you're discussing or talking about money, the primary premise of your conversation is already laced with a scarcity mentality. I want you to think about that for a moment. That the minute you talk about money,
Yes.
the first thing that triggers before you even begin to think, let's say the lens that you see what you're about to say already is embedded with scarcity. Let's try anything.
Okay.
Why do people have a problem with giving? Scarcity. I will lose. The little I have will become less. Why do people have a problem with relationships with certain people? They'll take something away from me. I will lose something by going there. Why do we choose our relationships? How do we choose our relationships?
Remember what we said. Mammon is behind all this.
Yes.
And Mammon is now giving you a lens of how to interpret life. All right? So your perspectives are based on scarcity mentality.
Yeah, yeah.
When I go to that person, when I join this group,
Yes.
when they become my friends, when they become, I will lose.
Exactly.
Can you imagine everything? You're interpreting everything with a scarcity mentality.
And let me tell you, when scarcity hits home and becomes embedded, it is the reason people compromise.
Wow.
It's the reason people do things that normally they would not do around money because they are trying to fill the void in their mind, not in reality.
In their
about
mind.
scarcity. The person who cannot be bought is a person who has got no scarcity mentality. The person who cannot be compromised is a person who has conquered a scarcity mentality. In other words, they do not see their life linked to losing what is on the table. But some of the scarcity
That's
mentality
powerful. That's powerful.
is willing to break some rules if this will fix the void called scarcity.
So when you talk about integrity,
Yeah. It breaks our integrity.
yeah,
Scarcity mentality is going to be the first thing that messes your integrity. No matter how much you wanted to stand for something, the question is, if I lose this, many people, and the world has discovered this, media has discovered this, because advertising is built on two primary powerful concepts, which ride purely on scarcity.
okay,
Number one, advertising will give you the pain of what you don't have. All right? So the advertising will cause pain. Not having this equals pain.
pain, yes,
Not having this equals pain. And that works whether you have or you have not. And it will now send the other picture of having this will equal to pleasure, will equal to having life.
so it
If
is
you
all
get
about
this thing,
pain or pleasure.
without a scarcity mentality, it will have no effect on you.
You watch an advert and you're looking and you're saying, that's not me.
I know what I
And
want.
that is also what happens when you
Yes.
talk about the deals that we have
Yes.
end of month
Yep.
sale.
There you go.
What is driving you?
Yeah.
Scarcity mentality.
Why do we buy in sales what we don't need?
What we don't need.
Not what I said. We buy in sales because our scarcity mentality has been triggered that we are losing something. So you don't need something.
But-
As somebody once said, on two levels. On the sale side, we will buy something we don't need simply because we think we will lose out on a good deal.
Okay.
A good deal that you lose out is only the deal of the things that you actually want or need.
Okay, okay.
But getting something at half price because it is half price, then going to store it is part of the scarcity mentality. On the other side of the coin, there is buying what you don't like to impress people you hate. So it is expensive, but losing out may make you look like you don't have.
So you're walking in the mall and you
Yes.
see the 75% off
Yes.
signs
Yeah.
and you walk in.
And you buy.
I'm like, okay, stop. when
you don't
came
want
here,
it, you don't
no, where
want
were
it.
you going? Because
Yes.
it's definitely you're not going for that 75%. But when you see it, there's that thing in you that tells
Yes.
you you're missing out. And by the way, this is a good deal. 75%.
Exactly. Of
Scarcity
what?
mentality.
Yeah. Listen, greed
Wow.
and fear of scarcity are programmed. They do not exist in human nature, neither do they exist in nature.
Okay, wait. Go back to your statement and please explain. Go back again.
Greed, fear, and a scarcity mentality. You realize all those are invisible forces. Do you realize they are programmed?
Greed?
They don't exist. They do not.
It's
Yeah.
invisible.
Yeah.
Fear.
It's
I
invisible.
can't touch it. I can't
Yes.
see it in you.
Yes.
And scarcity
Yeah.
is internal. So those
Yes.
are internal positions that
Yes.
you hold
Yes.
that cannot be touched by anybody
Listen.
out there.
And this is the thing.
Wow.
I said they do not exist in nature and not even in human nature. Human nature has to learn them.
Okay.
Now, okay, let's let's look at nature for a moment. All right? Nature does not display scarcity anywhere.
Explain,
Look around
please.
you. Look at a tree.
Okay, like this one.
Yeah. If it had fruits, it would drop them.
Okay. Okay.
You get my principle?
There's no holding.
No.
Because my friend, I have how many now? I have how many fruit? I don't want to give out.
Keep some.
Releases.
Releases.
So powerful.
Yes. This is a principle.
Nature can teach us how to do
There's abundance everywhere.
Wow, that's powerful.
Every species
That's powerful.
increases. Listen, the fact that any animal gives birth does not mean the animal tries to finish all the grass in the field. There is no scarcity mentality. When you find, if you find cattle grazing,
Yeah.
they eat at peace and then they take a break
Hmm.
and then they go home.
They are not
There's
trying
no
to get
scarcity.
everything.
No.
So nature does not.
Nature tells us scarcity does not exist.
Wow.
Ecosystems are rich with diverse species. Listen, we don't even know all the species in the ocean. We don't even know all that can be found in the forest. Yet, they are always there.
Yes.
They continue. Plants produce more seeds than they need. Did you know that? For one plant to grow requires sometimes 2 seeds. Just 2.
Yeah.
But when that plant gives back, it gives back
Multiple. Yeah.
multiple.
Yeah.
It does not require those ones that it's giving out.
Nature already displaying and telling us scarcity does not exist.
The sun,
It's in our mind.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
It's in our mind.
the sun is not burning out. It provides energy, endless. Use it. Everything is in the ecosystem of God's creation is working.
So when you have a scarcity mentality,
Yes.
this is the plan of Mammon
Yes.
or the devil here, is so that you can live in this place of smallness,
Yes.
yet God created you for
Abundance.
going out there, vastness, diverse.
Yes.
And you're sitting here and you're like, wait, I don't have. And God is looking at you and saying, my friend, it is in your mind. Release. So when we say break the stronghold of a scarcity mentality, we are simply telling you,
Yes.
look at nature. It can teach you. Look at nature. Look at the animals. They can explain to you that this mentality is in your mind. How comes you, like you said,
Yes.
if you go and find the hippos,
Thank you.
or the buffaloes, they do not tell you, my friend, there's no nobody comes here because there's no grass. This is ours.
Yes.
We are holding.
Yes. Listen, the gold in the earth,
Wow.
the gold in the earth outnumbers humanity. Anything in the earth outnumbers us. Anything.
And when we talk about gold, we're talking about wealth.
Yes. Anything.
We are looking for wealth, and wealth is telling you we are here, but your mind is stopping you even from seeing opportunities, ideas, creativity.
Even the money we have printed outnumbers us. In reality.
Yes.
Okay? I need just to see the picture of what we live in. The fish in the sea outnumber us.
Okay.
And I know scientists will tell us, oh, you know, we have fished all the fish. Absolute nonsense. Did you count the fish? Do you know what number they are to tell us they are running out? Because even that everything is sending us a scarcity mentality. Listen to this. Remember one time when I did this, I calculated that if you're to put all human beings standing, arm length or shoulder to shoulder, all our entire
Population.
population in the earth, 8 plus billion, we would all fit on one small island in the earth. One.
So,
How large is the earth? How large is the sea, which is larger than the earth? Absolute nonsense in scarcity. What we have is greed and control, not scarcity.
say that again, please.
What we have is not scarcity. What we have is greed and control out of fear. And where do we have greed? We have greed because of scarcity mentality. Why do you think people are hoarding?
So when we talk about the fall of man,
Yes.
we go back, because we always have to see these things in the Bible, that the consequences of the fall of man is what
Yes.
we're discussing today.
Yeah.
When you talk of scarcity mentality, because when man thinks he's God and he sees how much he can do with his only two hands,
Yes.
then he holds and says this is all there is. And that's why, like you're saying, you even extend your scarcity mentality into the seas, into the waters, and tell us that the fish, there's scarcity. When you go and start saying, you know what, when it comes to plants, when it comes to what you're talking of scarcity, because you're extending your own mentality into the creation.
So we're being convinced
Yeah.
to so many things we have to stop doing because that will become extinct. Listen, that is a scarcity mentality being created. Yes, out of greed, we are overkilling things. Okay?
Yes.
More than we need. But that doesn't mean that there's a lack of things.
And that the earth will come into this standstill because things are over. God has to come back and start.
Yes.
God tells you, my friend, in Genesis, let's go back. Whatever I said, let there be. That word still holds them in place. The
And they
word
still
of
multiply.
God. So if we look at it from the kingdom perspective, where we said, listen, God said, let there be. If he said it, I'm telling you, there's nothing that is going out. We can try and
Yes.
bring things into a place of, our mentality, our scarcity mentality can cause us to see things as though they are diminishing.
Exactly.
But if the sons of God arise, that's what the Bible says, creation is awaiting the manifestation of the sons of God. Why? Because the sons of God will not come to do, they'll come to speak.
Absolutely.
The word that comes from the mouth of God, when you speak it and rearrange everything, creation.
And what drives scarcity has now become an economy. Because when you send the idea of scarcity, you can raise prices. It's greed.
Greed, fear.
Scarcity.
So
They
who
work
is the
together.
problem here?
They don't actually
Man.
exist. Man is the problem. Look at animals. Have you ever seen lions hunt 10 antelopes and store 9
No.
for the next meal?
No.
They hunt, they eat, they go to sleep. In fact, everybody goes back to normal in the park. They know lion has eaten, cheetah has eaten, everybody has eaten, so life goes on. And there'll always be more than the lion can eat, no matter how many times he eats. That's a principle. There's always going to be more abundance than consumption can carry.
So when we say that I have so much rice,
Yes.
if I release it to the hungry nations,
Yes.
I will bring down the prices of commodities.
Price.
So what will I
not
do? It's
humanity.
about greed. So what do? I would
Yeah.
rather go and pour it in the ocean.
Oh, absolutely.
I would rather burn whatever needs to be
Yes.
burned, but not give out, so that I don't affect the prices of commodities.
Greed.
So what is that? Greed.
Greed.
What is that?
And
Fear.
what is driving it? I don't have enough power. I want to rule the world. Scarcity mentality. Listen, it scales.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you go. So look at how animals cooperate. If you go and study the ecosystem, you'll see relationships between many animals with no competition at all. The pollination, how things work, how some animals clean others, and how migration patterns, they know when to go this way, they know when to come back. And there's a continuous ecosystem that happened before we have ever even noticed it was happening. So greed and fear are fueled by the scarcity mentality.
Wow.
And they are built into the money system.
Yes.
So notice what we've done. We've taken our greed,
Yes.
we've taken our fear,
Yes.
we've taken our scarcity mentality, and money becomes the tool to feed this madness.
So when we talk about money and we tell you,
Yes.
listen, when you come and say money, Mammon wants to replace God in your life, he will use money.
Yeah.
Because with money you have power.
Yes.
With money you think you can rule your life. With money you think you have security. And God is telling you, listen, scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
Mammon is about self-destruction, no matter
Yes.
which angle you try to
Yes.
look at it.
So think about it this way. You have a scarcity mentality.
Yes?
It is the fuel that fuels greed
And fear. Yes?
So what does that give birth to? Selfishness, hoarding, keeping, controlling. Do you see everything now? So what becomes the weapon? Money. Money becomes the weapon.
Yes.
Money in itself was not evil.
Remember this this life we are talking about,
Yes.
that's what makes Babylon.
There you go.
And that is where when kingdom comes and says, listen, the only way you're going to break the patterns of Babylon in you, it comes to the place of giving, generosity.
Yes.
And generosity, and I'll say this for that person who is coming for the first time to our conversations. When we talk of generosity, is not go and give to church. We are building this and we are building that. We are saying generosity is one to another.
Yes.
We always talk in TCC and say, have an envelope that you send to someone. Have an envelope where you say, when it comes to alms, somebody is unwell, somebody has died, I will give. When it comes to my obligations in my community, they are your obligations.
Yes.
Where you ask yourself, now that I meet in this community, how is this paid? How is this done? How are these people who are so committed to speaking to us, how do they live? That's called common sense. But when you have mammon and allowing mammon to speak, you'll always now run into, there they go. It's about money in the church. No. When was the last time you gave somebody outside of your family? Outside of your mother, your father, and your siblings. When was the last time? So when you talk about generosity in the kingdom of God, it always encompasses all kinds of givings. And that's why we talk about when it comes to generosity. It includes giving one to another. All right? So that is the difference in the kingdom of God when we say, how will you break out of this? How do I break out of scarcity mentality?
Now you see, let me give an example. The devil is not precise. Very important. He deals with collateral damage.
Okay.
He had no clue who Moses was. So what does he do? He wipes out every child. He does not know who Jesus is. Surprise, surprise. The devil didn't know who Jesus was until the Jordan. This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Then he has a conversation. That tells you he's not precise at all.
And that's why when he came even in the time of Jesus, he said, kill all children.
Same
Or you think
principle.
it was Herod?
No.
My friend, the devil will work through the mouth.
After all, Herod
human
wasn't
beings.
even king. The king was Caesar.
So, kill all children under the ages of...
I have a general idea. He is in Jerusalem. And I only found out because the wise men said. I didn't even know. So, let's attack. Why am I telling you that? When you hear all this noise about ministers are eating people's money, you should not tithe, you should not give. Collateral damage. Not targeting all, but highlighting some. Targeting a few. Meaning there are few people that God has called that carry the enough weight of truth that will transform generations. Listen, there was only one Moses, but the devil was ready to kill all boys of his generation.
Yes.
In the earth today, there may be a very small number of authentic, called people who carry a grace that will free people from this. The enemy will make enough noise, hoping to stop any resource allocation to them. But he doesn't know who they are.
When the heavens opened, the Bible says that a voice came from heaven and said, this is my son. Listen to him. In Matthew, I think it says, listen only to him. But this is my son, with whom I'm well pleased.
Yes.
So when he was saying that, was John the Baptist next to him? Wasn't John the Baptist the voice that declared Jesus? But when it came to a place of saying, who is my son in the earth? Meaning, when I want to extend the kingdom of God, there's somebody called the son. And this son in our day-to-day is a corporate son globally, not in a particular place. It's not an individual, it is a corporate son. So like you're saying, there is a corporate son where God is saying, this is my son, in whom I'm well placed. Why?
And because the devil doesn't know
which
particularly, he will attack anything that sounds like.
Let me muddy the waters everywhere.
Collateral damage. And use the principle of scarcity as a tool to attack and shut down the economy of the kingdom.
Well, when you talk about money, you will always hear us come back to this place called generosity, because that's the only thing that will differentiate you from Babylon.
That's it.
So when we talk about generosity, again I repeat, it is not just about giving your tithe, your generosity envelope to where you're committed, where your sound comes through. It is also giving one to another.
There you go.
So any community that is saying, no, bring everything here, that is also scarcity mentality. That these members don't have
there isn't enough.
There. And that's why you'll always hear saying, 4 habits. Pay your bills, be generous, save and invest, and spend on yourself.
Absolutely.
Why? We don't believe in scarcity mentality.
That's it.
We know there is enough in the world for you to go for your holiday and for you to give a brother who is in need.
And let me say here that the scarcity mentality has infiltrated the church system.
Yes.
So it is almost like there isn't enough to go around, so bring everything here. It's a mindset. We even teach seemingly very good sermons about be careful, do not overspend, don't waste money, because there is a little. Do not be extravagant, don't spend on good things, because there is a little. Scarcity mentality. It has entered our pulpits, so much so that it's almost like if you live well, you're sinning.
I can tell you one that is most of, if you've been in church long enough, cocky church as we know it, you'll hear this. When your pastor hears, or bishop hears you in this other church,
Yes.
and you gave there,
Offense.
somebody came up with a statement that is straight from hell.
Scarcity.
You can't eat in one place and
Yes.
pay in the other. What is that? The kingdom
So
of
what are
God
you
is not a
paying for to
restaurant.
begin with? It's not a restaurant, number one. Number
It's
two,
not.
if it was, it would be a franchise.
It's the same
You
owner.
can pay, it's the same account.
Oh, that's
So
scarcity
let's not
mentality.
use those silly ideas
Yeah.
just because we have a scarcity mentality.
And the
because you think
scarcity
there's a
mentality
little.
says,
Yes.
if you give your tithe here,
Yeah,
and next month you give it here,
yes,
this place will lack because you did not
exactly.
give.
Scarcity.
When you leave the church, why
Yes.
do people say
They're offended.
they did not want me to leave? Because when you leave, scarcity mentality,
You've reduced the economy.
you've reduced the economy. Those things we say in the kingdom of God, they don't exist. And
They
that's
don't
why
exist.
we talk about ecclesia.
Yeah.
Are people who are called out of the system, people who are saying there's another system in the earth.
Yes.
The kingdom of God, where we don't have a scarcity
Yes.
mentality,
Yes.
and where we believe the word of God is what takes care of you. Is not the little that you have that you live on. You
Yes.
live on the word that proceeds from the mouth of God. In TCC,
Yeah.
we comfortably say, listen, generosity envelope. Go back to our teachings and you'll always hear saying, give where you are, give. If somebody is unwell, give. You go for holiday, give. You don't have to pay for people's rents because they are being kicked out. You can sit and say, I'm hearing God, I'll pay. Not because they don't have.
Even
We
though
are a
they were
giving
going
community.
to pay,
Yes.
I still paid.
I'm not paying for people because they're in need. Learn how to give to people even when they're not in need. That
Why?
is generosity.
Because you're at war with a scarcity
Mentality.
That's the principle. Let me ask today, even this idea of hey, my giving, I have to give on good ground. That's a scarcity mentality. The Bible said the sower scattered. It's called the
Okay,
kingdom.
wait. When you give into a good ground, what does that mean?
Scarcity. I want to be sure there's a
Because it
return.
will come back. There's
There
a
you go.
return. Scarcity
Scarcity
mentality. Do you realize some of the good statements we make in church?
And
And you
actually,
think they are nice?
they
No,
were-
they're scarcity.
they were mammonized to sound spiritual, to lock you into a mindset. Listen, in this kingdom, we are bound to every good work,
Yes.
not one good work.
Yes.
Question. If you say you're a kingdom giver, you're a resource mover, question is, your economy, is it advancing and developing the kingdom of God or the kingdom of Babylon? That's a question for you to check for yourself.
Wow.
Simple. It doesn't matter at what level.
So when you talk about fighting the scarcity mentality, because when we're talking about this, we're saying it's not something you write on your forehead.
No, it's invisible.
It's not something that you come proclaiming.
Yes.
I have a scarcity mentality,
Yes.
and I got it from my ancestors.
That's it.
You don't go saying that.
No.
So how do you now say, fine, you have identified I have scarcity mentality. Maybe you can talk to that person.
Okay.
Yeah?
Let me tell you, you cannot deal with the scarcity mentality without focusing number one. You must have the capacity to enjoy your present. If you're not enjoying your present, you already are thinking you're in scarcity.
Okay.
Number two, you have no fear of being a benefit to others. You have no fear of being generous. You have no fear of sharing. Number three, you do not, listen, you can have savings. But if you're saving out of fear, you're operating from a scarcity mentality.
And if you're saving out of, there's always a
Something
rainy
might
day that
go
will
wrong.
come. Something will go wrong.
You have scarcity. So you'd rather even invest than save. Because at least you're saying, let us increase capacity.
And you know, I'll say this here, and this is with all due respect of anyone who has ever come out to say, yes, we have this need. We should be learning from such people where we say, I thought I can store for a rainy day. And then you discovered it was not showers of rains, of waters.
Okay.
There were floods. And the floods, when they came,
Yes.
the little that I saved could not handle the floods. My friend, you cannot. Remember what we said. Mammon wants to replace God. And how does that do? Mammon makes you think you're God.
Yes.
So you're saving for what you think
Yes.
your need will be. Then tomorrow you think, wow, even if I have showers, I have saved enough. What about if floods come?
Here's
And
the
you
problem.
have to call out on a brother or a sister to stand with you. Do you realize the enemy lied to you?
Yep.
That all this time you're sitting and saying, I can't help somebody else. I'm only helping so that in my time of need they can help me. A time comes, even those you have helped cannot help you. You need a wider orbit to
Yes.
help.
And sometimes in your saving, you help no one. In the day of your crisis, no one shows up. And you think people hate you. They just don't know you.
Wow.
That's a reality.
So when you talk about generosity,
Yes.
and remember, have you noticed we keep repeating to you that yes, we have been brought up and told you must give your tithe. And most people after giving their tithe, that's the end of their giving. Have you noticed we keep reminding you,
and it's
give
a tithe,
alms.
and it's a tithe of fear. It's not a tithe of generosity.
Yeah.
It's not a tithe of dealing with greed. It's not a tithe of dealing with fear. It's not a tithe of dealing with scarcity. It's a tithe of out of scarcity. It drives you because lest you have less, lest the devourer comes after you. So even your tithing is driven by scarcity.
Notice how many things you have to adjust. You who is watching and saying, for sure when I give my tithe, I am giving so that God can fight the devourer. Can you imagine that's what that drives you?
That's what drives
Out
you.
of that whole statement that God said, because most people use Malachi.
Yeah.
That whole sentence there, you looked and the only thing that jumped out at you,
Yes.
the devourer. So let me
Yes.
tithe.
Because-
Meaning you're giving your tithe from a scarcity and fear. Actually,
Yeah.
greed and fear again.
That's what drives you. That's where you're going from. And this is the thing, you must understand. The world's economic system, best way to describe it, it is an allocation of scarce resources. Listen to that.
Yeah.
Allocation of imagined scarce resources
Imagined.
through the process of individual greed. In other words, greed is what is driving it. The argument is that there are scarce resources, and therefore whatever we do with money is we must always gather more. And we must always make sure we are in control, we have everything, because things might go wrong. Now, there are so many philosophical statements that have come out, wise sayings of scarcity. Save for a rainy day. That's a wise saying of scarcity. How does it work? If that thing was a seed, and you're saving it for a rainy day, is that when you plant seed?
Because when rain comes is when you want to plant.
Too late.
Too late.
You see how all those
The
sayings...
kingdom works so different when Bible talks about scatter your seed in many waters.
After many days.
After many days it shall return.
Yes.
When God tells you, why are you giving? You're giving because your trust is in Him, not
Yes.
in money.
Yeah.
Why do you become generous? Because as I stretch my hand, I'm becoming the hand of God to my brother, to my sister, to the community where I am, to everybody around me, because I know God wants to reach people.
Yes.
Can God be reaching people through you and be unfair to you that you have nothing?
Yes.
Do you see it when we say that be the hands of God? God is saying, listen, there's no you can be my hand and you're not watered. The Bible talks about those who refresh others.
Will be refreshed also.
God will make sure you're refreshed.
You can't refresh yourself. Those who refresh others will be refreshed also.
That is one of the kingdom economic models.
Yes, it never said those who refresh themselves shall stay refreshed. So, scarcity is a lie. It's an unexamined false system. What know the term? Unexamined.
Yes.
Up to today, you'd never even examined it. It's a false system
Yes.
of assumptions, opinions, and beliefs. So we're in constant danger, living in this world where we always think our needs are unmet. Our needs are unmet. It's like a warning sign in your head. On a public holiday, you ask, how are we making money today? Why? Because you're driven by scarcity. When you're not in motion, you think you're losing. Remember, this is the side of motion. There's still where we started. The other side that, why move even at all? There is nothing out there. Still, scarcity mentality. It drives laziness and it drives greed. Two sides. So, because of that, we've created even a language. We've created even a way of talking.
So this is
Created
now
an attitude.
scarcity mentality.
Yes.
Has a language.
We have a language.
And
we
that
have
language has
attitudes.
become normalized, and it is
Yes.
anywhere and everywhere you go,
Yeah.
you find the same thing, as long
Yes.
as the same principality is in operation.
Absolutely.
Through scarcity mentality.
Yes.
You know?
So let me, as we enter the tail end of this, talk about 3 components. Check yourself if you have them of scarcity.
Okay.
These 3 components are like the DNA or the structure or the operational model of scarcity. The first one is that there isn't enough. Doubt.
So there isn't enough. That's the number
enough.
one.
Yes.
There isn't enough.
Yes.
Okay. So somebody is walking, and every time you look at life, you're interpreting with one statement.
Yes.
There's no enough.
And once you have that, you have a naturally selfish behavior.
Okay.
Naturally selfish behavior.
Number 2.
More is better. It's a
Explain.
false explanation. You think that if you have more, greed, if you can accumulate more, my life will be better. The more you have, the more fear you have of loss. The more you see what you don't have and you don't want. So the second lie, the second component is that if I had more. So we're not saying more is bad. We are saying more with a scarcity mentality is chaos.
Number
You're still
3.
driven by fear. And number 3, this one makes things really, really, really fall into perspective. The mindset that if I'm in this situation and nothing is going to change because it's a permanent reality. You cannot. We live like this. This is life. Number 3's power is that I've accepted. In fact, I would almost say number 3 becomes the accepted life. This is the reality. It will never change.
Accept it.
You know why that is? It becomes the most dangerous because it gives strength to the other 2.
So you're saying here somebody who is looking at life and saying, listen, this is how things are. This is the reality, and accept it, and my friend, be comfortable in this.
And because this is life, if I don't accumulate whatever the means, I will never have. And if when I get to hold, I don't hide because there isn't enough. Do you see how powerful these things work?
Wow.
So in your mind, if you have this mindset, first of all, there's scarcity. It's a reality.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
More is better.
More is better. And this is the reality of life. This is just the way.
So somebody could be watching us now and saying, listen, what are you guys saying? This is the reality. We've accepted it. This is who we are. And with that mentality, we even coin statements.
Oh, yeah.
We even come up with now how we talk. And if I say it to you, if I come and say, for example, it's a dog's world. Dog eat dog.
It sounds normal.
Dog eat dog world, my friend. If I say that, you say what?
True.
That's normal.
Yeah.
The rich get richer.
The poor are getting poorer.
Is that not normal?
You see, these are statements you hear every day.
And you say,
but we don't know that they were authored.
In fact, when you come and say something like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, somebody can even say amen. Why? Because even you think
it's true.
It's true.
No, imagine, we call these wise sayings. We say, better safe than sorry. I'm sure up to now you thought that was a good saying, right? That's a scarcity mentality.
Better safe
than sorry. Scarcity mentality. With that mentality, you'll never initiate.
Yeah.
You'll never take a risk. You have to fight for what is yours. What does that tell you?
Okay, you know some of those things, when you say that now, you have to fight for what is yours. You're like, okay, wait.
There isn't enough.
I need to fight for what is mine.
We even have games that reinforce scarcity mentality. You know the most famous game that reinforces scarcity mentality?
Yes.
Musical chairs.
And you can kill someone. You can break yourself there.
People's attitudes.
Yes.
People get injured. Why?
Yes.
Because there's always one chair less. And you want to make sure it is not you who misses out.
You always have to look for number one.
Absolutely.
Even in our games, like you're saying, I'm always looking for that one. I want to win. I want to have that one.
Yes.
You're like, why?
Yeah.
Well, when you talk of scarcity mentality, when you say that we are discussing scarcity mentality, ask yourself, do you need to go back to this conversation? Do you need to listen to it again? And how do you break scarcity mentality?
Yes.
You can only break it with what we call the kingdom economic model. Remember, we're talking about money, and we're telling you what money has become. It's become more important than the creator. It has become more important than man. It has become more important than the life of God in the lives of men and women.
Yes.
So people will do anything to have money.
Absolutely.
The only way to bring down the power of money in your mind and in your path is to give.
Yes.
That one somebody else can take and go and say, we are preaching about giving and everything, my friend, with a difference. That when I give, I'm breaking the scarcity mentality in me that has kept me in this dome of smallness. Because we are not talking about scarcity mentality as with freedom of finances. No. This thing has brought you into a dome of lack, of poverty. And the only way to break this dome, to break yourself out of it, is for you to say, listen, I will give. But when you give, I will repeat this so that even if somebody was to cut this statement and say, I'm saying go and give to church, I'll repeat it again. You have a responsibility to give where you get the word. Number one, you have a responsibility to give around those who live around you. Your home, your parents, your siblings, or somebody you live with, your guardian. Just find it in you to be the hands of God to these people. Feel it in you that when somebody is unwell, can I stretch my hand? When somebody has passed on, we need to give. Look at all the opportunities we have of giving, and giving for us is not about the money, it's about extending the love of God to those around us. So our giving is not about just money.
Yes.
It's breaking the power of mammon in us, and at the same time, being the hand of God to those around us.
If you deal with scarcity, money will be relegated back to its correct order.
Nice.
Servant, not master.
Yes.
Scarcity mentality is what elevates money into a master position, as opposed to taking it back where it belongs at a servant position.
Yes.
So deal with your scarcity mentality. The issue is not what you have or don't have. It is, if you don't have, scarcity has you. If you have, scarcity will curse you. That's a reality. You must have a mentality that, listen, we were born for abundance and not scarcity.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Kingdom Conversations. The big question remains, what have you heard? And what are you going to do about it? Keep tracking with us, like and follow us on our social media handles, the Cyrus Community on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can send in your questions through Facebook or use the email on your screen. And as Micah 4:4 says, may you be found seated under your vine and under your fig tree. Until our next episode, keep it kingdom, keep it pure.